Good morning and welcome to Game Day preview. Apologies, I was late today, not Matisse. We will clear that up. I technically was on time.
Yeah.
But, you know, the traffic in these London streets. I was on time by 1 minute.
She's dashing up the stairs 1 minute to go. It's quite impressive.
Bags in the car, literally. Anyway, I can't let you take the blame. Lateness is greatness, but not today. So we have a lot to get into this weekend. Starting on Friday night, Arsenal at home to Southampton. Arsenal have won their last 4 Premier League home games. They've scored 15 goals. They've conceded 4. Yep. However, in the last 2 games, Arsenal have let a 2-goal lead slip away twice.
Yeah. It was quite insane, to be honest, the second time. I mean, Liverpool, it can happen to anyone at Anfield, but West Ham was a surprise. It was a shock. And Arsenal, it goes without saying, they absolutely have to win this game. Like, it is a must win. If they don't win this game, you can kiss the title goodbye, because I'm honestly sure then City-wise will turn up the volume again, and Arsenal mentality will be quite fragile if they were to drop points here at home. Probably be the boos and whatnot. The fans will start to get really quite annoyed and aggravated. They'd want to take it to the last day. They'd want to take it all the way, no matter what. And obviously the Etihad game is next Wednesday, so it's a huge game, massive opportunity. But you want to put yourself in the perfect position by winning against Southampton. I think they will, because Southampton are just hopeless right now. They cannot seem to find a way. I think they're rubber stamped to get relegated now. I've always tried to give Southampton a little glimmer of hope, because they've had some impressive results this season. They beat us, they beat City in the Cup. They've showed good signs of playing decent football. They've got some technical players, Lavia, Ward-Prowse, but it's not enough, and there will be a couple of players that get taken away from that team when they get relegated, and I think they will get relegated now. Yeah,
I mean, I've been saying since the beginning of the season they were in one of my top 3 to go down. I'm not surprised. They've kind of been like teetering around that drop zone for quite some time. Of course, they sacked Nathan Jones. They brought in Ruben Sellers, and he won 2 of their first 3 games, but then since that time they are now winless in their last 6. That's 2 draws, 4 losses, so it's not looking too promising, especially when you have to think, you know, it's not at home, it's not at St Mary's. For Southampton, they have to go to the Emirates. I can't really see anything else other than an Arsenal win, unfortunately.
I think Arsenal win this and put the pressure on for that game at the Etihad. Surely now there'll be no lapses of concentration. I do think what's going to be the situation when they're 2-0 up in some games coming up, not this one in particular, but say, you know, the Newcastle game coming up, the City game,
they've got itchy feet over
they've got Brighton. I think, you know, will they start to second guess themselves if they are leading games because of obviously the leads they've let slip? And I think, listen, Southampton have got Liverpool, they've got Brighton, they've got Newcastle in the games left. I don't think Brighton can accumulate enough points to stay up, so I think I'm going to go over Arsenal 3-0 win. Yeah,
the only thing I would say is obviously giving away set pieces to Southampton. You know, Tottenham ended up drawing 3-3. I know there was that late penalty which was questionable, but still, I mean, if you give them opportunities, they still can punish you in a way, especially on those set pieces with James Ward-Prowse, as Arsenal will have to be careful in terms of making sure they don't concede too many of those. But I think it's going to be a 3-1 Arsenal win.
Goal conceded.
Yeah, we'll get through the Premier League fixtures and then we'll have a look at FA Cup. Okay, Fulham taking on Leeds. I mean, Leeds coming off the back, it was 6-1 against Liverpool. It was absolutely dire.
And a 5-1 before that.
Yeah.
So maybe a 7-1 this weekend.
My goodness me. I mean, surely we have to say that they could go down.
Yeah, I think Leeds right now, I mean, they're 16th in the table, a couple of points above Nottingham Forest. But you can't be conceding, you know, 5 and then 6, you know, back-to-back weekends. It's embarrassing. And to do it against Crystal Palace as well, obviously that was the early game for Roy Hodgson to get out of the way and show his credentials as well, coming in for Patrick Vieira. I just think with Leeds, again, they're a team that you look at, you know, Nononto and Somerville and Rodrigo when he's fit, Adams and Rocco, you think, you know what, there's some really good players in here. And there's some solid players. But again, the Premier League doesn't care. You know, the Premier League is ruthless, and Leeds have always had an issue defending. Since they've come up to this league, they've been one of them teams that just ship loads of goals under Bielsa.
They were scoring loads. So
they scored loads of goals. They scored loads of goals, but they shipped so many goals. Even with Bielsa, you know, it was wide open back there. You know, and again, they're just. I think they're asking for it. I think when they're one of those teams that they're not building on They're not building on the great first season they had with Bielsa when they first came up. They're kind of just slowly getting dragged in year out, and I think they're in some problems, especially when you consider that the fact that obviously Leicester have changed manager as well.
Yeah, I mean, Leeds have conceded 16 goals in 4 games in April. I mean, it's pretty hefty.
Yeah.
Do you think it was the right decision to sack Jesse Marsch and get Javi Gracia in?
I don't know too much about the new manager. I think Jesse Marsch. It's tough, isn't it? I think it probably was the right decision. The only thing that I question is that they brought in, McKennie. They seem to be going in that American kind of direction.
I don't think their recruitment was particularly poor.
No.
When you look at it.
But then to sack him, after kind of paying yourself to be the Americanized team, and then you go and sack the American manager, it just didn't really make loads of sense to me. But look, maybe they felt like they kind of had to. They had to do it. But I don't know the manager too well, the new manager, I must say. So it surprises me, the appointment, that it's not someone a little bit more Premier League proven in terms of getting a team out of relegation scraps and whatnot, because that is what they're in. To kind of go with somebody that it seems like this is their first time in this position in this league, it's a gamble. But I do think they've got a good attack. When I look at them from an individual perspective, when everybody's fit, I do think the attack is decent. But defensively, like we said, they're shipping too many goals. So I don't know. Because I don't know the manager that well, and it's the first time I've seen him really. I think it's tough for me to really put too much stock in them staying up.
I think so. What's your prediction for this game?
It's tough. I think I'm going to go with let's see. I think I'm going to go with a Leeds defeat. I think I'm going to lose 2-1.
Yeah, I think Fulham, even though they were
Mitrovic though.
Yeah, they were on a pretty poor run of form. Obviously, they beat Everton last time out 3-1, but I still think at home, just Fulham have got more quality with or without Mitrovic anyway.
Willian, they've got a few. Yeah,
they've still got players. People like Manas Solomon that can come on and change a game. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Fulham win. 2-1 Fulham.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Liverpool take on Nottingham Forest. Away from home in the Premier League this season, Nottingham Forest have the fewest points, that's just 6. Joint fewest wins, which is only 1. Fewest goals scored, which is 5. Worst goal difference, which is minus 31. And the second highest number of goals conceded, which is 36. So it does not look good, especially when you're going to go to Liverpool after they've just hit 6 past Leeds.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest, we thought they were clear of potentially getting relegated. We thought they were the ones that might have been safe. They've also been dragged right into it.
Yep.
They currently sit, 18th in the table,
27 points. They were on some good form under Cooper.
They were.
I remember when we were speaking about Forest a few weeks ago, they were in 13th. They were looking like they were going to get themselves out of trouble. All of those new players that they signed looked like they had gelled, and finally, Cooper was going to take them to the promised land, which is obviously safety. And now they're dragged right back into it again, and their away record is pretty shambolic. It's fair to say that the City ground is keeping them afloat at the moment. And Liverpool away is, for an away team with a record like theirs, is not easy. Liverpool coming off the back of a win. It's tough to look elsewhere other than Liverpool winning, especially after that emphatic win. It's a lot of confidence for their attackers to go and score that many goals, to go and get the 6 goals there. They're firing now on all cylinders up front, and you'd expect them to try and carry that confidence into a very winnable game, to try and see if they can salvage something European wise. I don't think Liverpool are going to make top 4, but I don't think Liverpool should be turning their nose up at Europa League. I think Europa League has got to a point now where the competition's pretty respected, and it's an opportunity to get into the Champions League. And with the amount of competition you have in the Premier League now for Champions League places, I think having the Europa League as another option to qualify is important.
Yeah, it's a good point you raise. I mean, you say that you don't think Liverpool are going to get into the top 4, and obviously we kind of have, and we have kind of ruled them out most of the time. But I look at the table; they're on 47 points. They're 3 points behind Aston Villa, who are in 6th place on 50. That means that they are 6 points behind Tottenham in 5th.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if Tottenham are technically
they've got a game in hand, 6 points.
I think Tottenham are in contention. I don't think they are. But
it's Newcastle, isn't it? That's the one where it's 9-point gap, same games played. Are they going to overturn that? The The thing is with Liverpool is you can't ever write them off, but I've just written them off because I can't see any consistency in their game. If you look at their fixtures, it is maybe favourable. Aston Villa at home, you've got in that run Tottenham at home as well, so they have the opportunity to take points off of teams that are also contending and around them. And then the rest of the games you would say are winnable, but we know the Premier League just doesn't work like that. And Liverpool have been very inconsistent all season. The one thing you can say of Liverpool is they've only got one game a week or one Premier League to focus on. They're not obviously in the cups, so that might do them some favours. And they do like a late run. I remember last couple of years ago when they was dwindling down in kind of like 7th, and they made a really late run after a long period of having injuries in the mid-season to go on like a 10-game run and somehow get themselves back into 3rd. So I don't think they're going to make it, just based on what I've seen. But it's Liverpool. You never know. In the top 4, it's not like there's any consistency up there.
Exactly, there is no consistency at all. Prediction for that one, please.
I'm going to go over Liverpool I'm going to go over Liverpool 4-1 win.
Okay, let's have a quick look at the chats. John Daly says 7-0 to the Arsenal because we'll be 7 points clear. Plus, it's my son Jack's birthday and he will be in attendance. Happy birthday, Super Jack Daly.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Unfortunately, I do hope it's a loss though. Kazi says unpopular opinion. I think Southampton played better under Ralph Hasenhüttl. I probably would agree with that.
They got a lot of beatings though.
They did, but at the same time, they were
mad aggregate scores.
They were, but I don't know. I still think they probably did. I would have backed them more to stay up under Hasenhüttl.
Yeah, they just had their odd 9-0 thumping, but I get you. I do get you.
Yeah, I do. Harry Doherty says Arsenal 4-0. Andy says Southampton, West Ham and Nottingham Forest to go down. John Daly says 3-3 draw coming for Fulham and Leeds. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thinking that that's a draw. A lot of people thinking.
I was really disappointed in Nottingham Forest in the last game that I watched, I must say.
Against
Man United. Yeah, they just Man United. I saw them at the City. I thought, you know what? I thought Manchester United with some injuries coming off the back of a game on Thursday. I thought Nottingham Forest might be able to catch them. Obviously, a good home record, but they were just so poor up front.
Yeah, they were.
Their number 9 was just toothless. Couldn't control the ball. They have Emmanuel Dennis on the bench. They have Jesse Lingard.
They don't have.
They have good players. I definitely don't think Steve Cooper should be sacked. I think he's a good manager, but I do not know what's going on at Forest at the moment. It's weird. It's really weird. Good players. When you look at it player for player, the bench was pretty impressive, but just disappointing.
Kazi says Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 1. Andy says Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 0. Jaden said 2-1 Forest. Okay. 2-1 Forest.
Okay. That's a big result.
Right. Okay. Let's have a look. Leicester against Wolves.
Yeah.
I mean, Leicester have lost 8 of their last 9 Premier League games.
Wow, that's bad.
They've also gone on 3 separate runs of losing 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Sacked Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah. I thought Rafa Benitez was going to come in.
They just sacked him without plan. They did. They sacked him without plan. They were looking at Jesse Marsh.
Yeah. That was a surprise to me to see them looking at Jesse Marsh. I would say that's a downgrade. A massive downgrade.
See, this is the thing. Sometimes I feel like I understand the sacking because obviously it's been poor for a number of reasons. Not all just Brendan Rodgers. There are fundamental issues at the club due to, backlash of COVID, various other things that have kind of stunted their development. But I don't know, I think it's a big gamble to get rid of Brendan Rodgers when you had, it was like 10 games left at that point, or 9 games left.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a big gamble to do that because who are you bringing in that's going to keep you up?
I honestly thought Rafa Benitez was going to come in, and if he comes in, I think safety is pretty much sorted because he's a very, very good manager. He might not be well liked anywhere, Everton, Chelsea, but he's a very good manager with a lot of respect in the game and a lot of pedigree.
Do you honestly look at Dean Smith and think that's going to keep you up?
Dean Smith at Aston Villa, I'm trying to remember his time there. It wasn't too bad from what I remember.
Do you back him to keep Leicester?
No, I wouldn't hang my hat on him. Obviously, I've seen he's brought John Terry with him again from Aston Villa. Now he's brought him back for the coaching staff as well. It's a little bit of a gamble, but I'm trying to remember his Aston Villa. I don't think they were too poor.
I don't think they were too good, and also then he went to Norwich and got relegated.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean it's definitely not a guarantee that they're going to stay up now. I think they could have. I don't know what happened with Rafa Benitez, whether they couldn't afford or they didn't want to pay the wages, or maybe he didn't agree. But I thought that would have been a much stronger appointment. I do think they still have the quality to get out. just based on what they have on paper. I've never rated their defence in terms of individuals. I think they're outside of Pereira, who just sometimes manages to turn up and put in a performance. I don't think their centre backs are great, but I do think a team with Maddison, a team with obviously Tielemans has been out for he's been missing games.
Yeah,
but Iheanacho, Harvey Barnes.
There's enough
there to get out of a relegation scrap, I feel. And all it takes is somebody competent to put together a system, put the basics back on the table for them. And I think they'll just about get out. I don't think it will be a clear clean sweep, but I think they should just get out with that quality.
Wolves have won their last 2 Premier League games. They beat your side Chelsea 1-0 last week, Brentford 2-0. They have not won 3 in a row since January 2022. They also haven't conceded in those 2 games either.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been pretty good from Julian Lopetegui. You think where Wolves were, I mean, safe to say he has turned it around a little bit. They're sitting in, 12th at the minute?
Up to 13th, just behind Palace, back-to-back wins. Palace, Bournemouth and Wolves all on back-to-back wins, all in that 12th, 13th, 14th positions. And you'd say with Wolves, what are they? 1 win, 2 wins maybe? A win and a draw away from safety? I don't know if it's going to take 40 points this season. I don't think Nottingham Forest is going to get 40 points. Everton, I don't think they'll get 40 points. Those are the 2 teams on 27, just on the cusp of relegation zone. So I don't think it will take 40 points. So I think if Wolves get another win, and maybe a draw, I think they'll see themselves safe, and I think that has to be the motivation going to Leicester, especially a team down there that
can't buy a win.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be saying in the changing room, if we can get a win here, we're basically almost safe. So I think there's a lot of motivation for Wolves to go up there, and I mean it's a Midlands derby, isn't it? It's go there and get a win. I'm going to back Wolves to actually win this. I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves.
Okay, I would have probably also... Do you know what? I'm going to do something different. I would have also gone with a Wolves win, but I'm going to go with a draw.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the 1-1 draw.
Okay.
Give Leicester some hope. Waves says Liverpool have already lost to the likes of Bournemouth, Forest, Leeds, Wolves, Brentford. Drew against Everton, Palace and Brighton. They're not winning against Forest. Trust me. Don Farah says Dean Smith is better than Lampard. That might be an accurate shout.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with you.
Kyle B says Benitez came in with 10 games to go for Newcastle and he got them relegated.
Damn. That sticks out in his CV, doesn't it? Maybe Leicester are right.
Maybe so. Okay, Crystal Palace against Everton. Eze has scored 3 goals in his last 2 Premier League games for Crystal Palace, as many as he had before in his previous 21. I mean, Roy Hodgson's come in.
Yep.
And he's just completely turned it around, and no one would have saw it.
Do you know what it is with Roy Hodgson is that, I'm not going to lie, when Vieira was sacked, I did feel like it was slightly harsh, just considering the fixtures at the start of the year. Not saying that they should have had the run that they had, but I did look at the fixtures and think, wow, that was a tough run. I can understand why Palace have struggled there, and I think when he comes out the other side of it, he'll get through. And obviously he's managed to turn that squad around, get the average age down, bring in the Ezes, the Aliciers, the Andersons, the Gurheys. So I thought, maybe give him a little bit more time. But Roy Hodgson, if you wanted immediate impact, you've got it. This guy's come in, they've been scoring a truckload of goals, everybody's having fun again, they're playing good football, and I'm kind of surprised. I don't know how many more times Roy Hodgson can keep coming back and making this kind of impact at his age, but he's got the sunglasses on, do you know what I mean? The suit's out and the sun's shining.
I don't know if you guys can see it here, but we have a new prop on set, and it's
that's the picture.
It's so good, isn't it?
That is quality.
It's so good.
That is absolutely quality.
Look out for it next time we're doing a big thing on Best of Enemies or something. You'll be able to see it.
It's the shirt with the sunglasses.
The shirt, the belt, the glasses, the hands in the pockets. It's just the whole drip. All right, let me show you.
He's a proper vibe, he is. That is absolutely fantastic.
I mean, it's so good.
There you go.
We can keep
put that. Yeah, just put him there, because that is
all hell.
The definition of Crystal Palace right now.
All hell, Big Roy, Don Roy.
Roy Story 2. That's what that is.
Story
That's
2.
what they called it.
I love that. Everton, however, I mean, since Sean Dyche has come in, they obviously won the first 2. Since then, it hasn't been so great. I mean, they've drawn 3, they've lost 4. I don't know. I mean, they're kind of slowly slipping back towards that relegation thing. We kind of thought they might be out and away, but
I think
not so much.
When he comes into the club, everybody immediately thinks this is a perfect team assembled for him. Safety is secured, and I do still think that they will just about scrape it potentially. But I think this just goes to show just how poor that attack is, and I'm not really sure how Everton have let this attack get this stale. You know, you let Anthony Gordon go in the summer. I don't think he was even starting games consistently at that point. Let him go in January. I don't think he was consistently starting games anyway before he went to Newcastle for that big 60 million fee. Calvert-Lewin hasn't been dependable with fitness for years now, since Ancelotti was getting him playing like Inzaghi. And then you're looking at Iwobi's and McNeil's, and it's not enough. You know, it's really not enough. Gray, I just don't know. Obviously, financially, maybe they potentially are struggling a little bit. They spent a lot of money in the past couple of years. They obviously got a new stadium being built as well. But the neglect on that attack is insane. And when you look defensively, it's perfectly suited for Deitch. You know, it's Cody's and it's Tarkowski's and it's Keane's, and you know, set pieces they should be a threat. Onana in midfield is a really good player, but it's tough. It's really tough to get that team ticking because the attack is just so stale.
Do you think they're going to stay up?
I think it's touch and go for them. I don't have them to go down. I actually have Southampton, Leeds, and Forest. And I have Leicester to get out of it with Everton. But I wouldn't be surprised if they went down. Because they have been flirting with relegation for a couple of years now. Yeah. And it could be their time, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. Prediction?
Wow. Let's see. Everton. I think it's tough to go to Palace. Palace could be on the beach. They're not really playing for anything, but I'm going to give Palace a win under Roy again. I'm going to go for a 2-0.
I'll go with the 2-1 Palace win. Yeah. Anthony says Bowley announces he will be the next Chelsea manager.
That is actually my worst nightmare.
It's not out of the realms that could happen.
No, it's not. He's in the changing room. He's doing the pep talks, and
How do you feel about that?
Looks like he's picking the lineups. It's not my cup of tea. For me personally, I feel like it might undermine the manager a little bit. If you're going into the changing room and it depends what you're going in the changing room to do. You know, if he's going in the changing room to just, you know, sit in the corner and have little mini conversations.
Doesn't sound like the type of guy.
It doesn't sound like that's potentially what's happening. If he's going in there to rally the troops and shout and scream and pep talks and tell them that they've played embarrassing, which is the quotes we're getting out, then I do feel like you're undermining the manager a little bit, because then the manager's standing in the corner watching you come in and do that, and that's kind of his job. And it's his job to know those players inside out, understand what gets them going, what doesn't, and handle them on an individual basis. We hear managers talking about all the time, some players need shouting at, some players need an arm around the shoulder, some players need to be embarrassed in front of the whole squad to get them going, some players need to be taken to the side. It's management of those players and understanding them inside out. And the best managers are able to know their squads. You know, Mourinho was famous for knowing, you know, the wives of his players' names and you know, the mothers, and being able to have that proper personal rapport. Exactly, and that's why the Materazzis and players like that were willing to die for him at Inter Milan. So if a manager is going to be relieved of those responsibilities in the change room, and the change room is a very emotional place. It's a place where things can kick off, things can get said, especially after a defeat. People can be really angry and start, you know, rowling and whatnot. And I think I just would prefer an owner to not be in that environment and to kind of, you know, there's a food pyramid.
Yeah.
You know, I said it on my channel. You don't mix the fats with the carbohydrates. Do you know what I mean? Like, the owner's meant to be at the top of the tree. You know, he's meant to have that aura. You know, you see the owner in the crowd. You see him looking down, and you know, he shouldn't have to say too much. You know, the look speaks for itself. Obviously, we want to see owners be transparent and be more personable and be closer to the fans and you know, whatnot. But I do think there's a grey area and there's a medium to this. And I just don't think he needs to be shouldering manager responsibilities, to be honest.
Okay, all right, fair point. Geordie Toon for Life says Palace 2, Everton 0. Tenditum says Palace 2, Everton 1. Yeah, I'm just having a read through these. All these are pretty much quite similar. Everyone's loving a bit of Don Roy. UD says Hodgson will likely keep Palace up, but it's going to be the same old story next season, and he's going to get sacked. We've seen this tape before. Is he actually going to be there next season?
That's the thing. I don't think Roy Hodgson should be there next season. I think he comes in for a short-term little boost. Yeah. And if you're going to, again, be building a project, or, you know, you're trying to build something with those young players, I think you go and get a manager that is there also for the long term. Roy Hodgson is not a long-term solution. If he does brilliantly, next year, what does that mean? Because he still needs to retire at some point, right? So
he just wants to chill.
Yeah, so, you know, there is no longevity to Roy Hodgson. So even if he does well, you still need to at some point think of his successor. So for me, you may as well just let him go in the summer.
Yeah,
start fresh with the preseason and get somebody in, because Roy Hodgson is basically coming towards the end of his career.
I agree. Tenditum says, Abby, back in September on a DR Sports watch along, I predicted a Man City AC Milan final in the Champions League. Well, if you did, that is...
Wow.
Well, we're not there yet.
Great prediction.
We're not there yet.
Not yet.
We're not there yet.
But I hope that is the case, because I love AC Milan.
I'm very excited for this all Milan semi-final.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah.
That's like having a...
It's the first time since 2000.
That's like having an Arsenal Tottenham in a semi-final of the Champions League.
I think it's the first time since 2004. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but it's something like that.
I can't wait. We'll be covering it here. Don't worry.
Insane.
Wave says Palace win 2-1. Divas says Palace is going to go above Chelsea. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're getting there. We're
gonna get to Chelsea.
No, we're not. We don't play this weekend.
Well, actually, that's a good point. We won't get to Chelsea. We can still talk about Chelsea.
We can't.
Yeah,
we literally game day preview. My team don't play this weekend, so next week we'll talk.
Brentford against Aston Villa. Ollie Watkins has scored 11 goals in his last 12 Premier League games for Aston Villa. 14 overall this season, his joint best in a single top flight campaign. Pretty good. I mean, last weekend he was on fire.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm so impressed with Aston Villa. Obviously I got to see them up close when they beat us, then they beat Newcastle, and they really deserve all their flowers, because McGinn and Ramsey and Buendia, the work that they're getting through to be, as you know, to be creators and to also get back in position for the shape off the ball as well. When they came to Stamford Bridge, at times I saw them in like a 6-2-2, and I was like, what is going on here? But they just work their socks off to get back into position, and defensively set themselves up really well. And then, you know, we see them bursting forward, and they play with so many midfielders, they can have so much control, and then Watkins up top is like the icing on the cake. And I think ever since Danny Ings has left, I feel like Watkins, not only has he not been shafted out wide by Gerrard, but he's also been given the responsibility.
He's the main man.
Yeah, you're the main man. We rely upon you for goals. We trust you to score the goals. You don't have to kind of play in this weird two-striker system with Ings, where you're both kind of, you know, he's a penalty box striker and you've got to kind of run the flanks. And it was just a strange combo. It wasn't even a big man, little man combo. It just didn't really work.
Yeah.
But now he's been given the responsibility. I think he's doing really, really well.
Do you know what's mental? I mean, it seems like it's been the longest season ever, and it has been, because we've had the World Cup sandwich in between. But it's crazy to think that they had Steven Gerrard at the start of this season.
Yeah.
Unai Emery has come in.
From 17
up to, and they are in contention for a European spot.
Yep.
Mad.
I think they'll get one.
I think they'll
get one. I think Champions League might be too much, but I think they can definitely look to get a Europa League spot. Yeah. And he's got a great Europa League record, so he'll love that.
He does. One thing though, Brentford, they were kind of sniffing around those spots. Their form has dropped off slightly.
Yeah.
They've lost their last 3 Premier League games, as many as they had done in their previous 21. So I don't know, I'm a bit disappointed in Brentford lately, especially with being at home, just dropping points. Like, I just
Brentford and Fulham, West London, crumbling.
They were sitting really quite. I'm just looking at theirs, 9th and 10th. At one point it was like 7th and 8th, and we thought they were going to be in contention. But
this is the business end of the season.
Yeah,
this is the business end of the season, and it's time for the real ones to stand up. Do you know what I mean? And West London right now is crumbling, and it's a shame. But it was always going to be difficult to sustain. You know, Fulham have only just come up, so this is incredible. The fact that they're in the top 10,
huge.
And Brentford, you know, they haven't been in the Premier League for too long, and it's not like they've been splashing the cash. And they're a very humble club. They say that they're just a bus stop, nothing more, nothing less. And yeah, listen, for them 2 clubs to be in the top 10 is an incredible achievement. Obviously, European football would have been great for them, but when you look at how clustered it is up there with Newcastle and Villa's resurgence, and Tottenham and Liverpool are never just going to completely disappear. They'll be hanging around, and Brighton are there. I just hope Brighton can keep up and stay in the European places, because I think if Brighton dropped out, I'd be really, really disappointed for them. I think it was always Brighton, Brentford, Fulham, and I just want one of them to qualify.
I think Brighton have been unbelievable this season. For me, it has to be Brighton.
If Brighton qualify, then, you know, they kind of are representing the other 2.
They fully deserve it. They really deserve it.
That's how I see it. They do. They play brilliant football.
They do, and the way that they keep rebuilding that squad, it's just been amazing. What's 100%. Your prediction?
Prediction. I'm going to go with a... that's a good one, you know. I think this could be a 2-2. It's a good game, I think.
It is a good game. Do you know what?
Ivan
I'm going to
Toney,
agree
maybe?
with you. I'm going to agree with you on that.
It's a great game, I think.
It really
potentially.
is. Guys, please make sure you smash the like button. Please get those likes up. Right, we are going to move on to Sunday. Newcastle take on Tottenham. Huge game in terms of the race for the top 4.
Yeah.
Alexander Isak has scored 5 goals in his last 6 games for Newcastle. He's averaging a goal every 113 minutes. The only person to do better than him is Erling Haaland. That's one every 70. So he's in good company.
What player? Are you confident? Let me ask you the questions. How are you feeling? Newcastle, tough game.
Tough game. We've actually got quite a good record.
Top 4 fight though. This is big.
We've got a good record at St James's Park. Six of Harry Kane's 8 Premier League goals have actually come against Newcastle as a visiting player.
Okay. But I think you're in trouble.
Wayne Rooney has
this
more.
one. I think you're in trouble.
Do you know what? I was really surprised last week, not at Villa beating them, but just the way that Newcastle kind of crumbled a little bit. Like I was shocked. I didn't see that in them.
Yeah.
However, I think being at St James's Park, obviously it's a really difficult place to go atmosphere wise. You're in the absolute gods when you go there as well as a travelling fan.
Yeah.
And I just can't see, like I said on Monday's show, you know, if Tottenham get a win, I'm surprised, and I'm, you know, it's a nice win. But at the same time, these are games that Tottenham should be winning if they're, you know, going to be in any type of European football and, you know, in the Champions League. So I don't know. I just can't see anything happening with Stellini and this continuation of the same type of tactics.
Yeah.
I really can't. Obviously, off the back of that, lost to Bournemouth, which all credit to Bournemouth, they fully deserved. I really don't know.
It was a demoralising late winner.
I wouldn't even say demoralising, I'll be honest with you. There's not much morale to demoralise, but I think it's just really showing where Tottenham are at. They just cannot defend. You know, Son's netted in his last 2 games, which is more we could say for the rest of the season. Be decent if he could now find some longevity of this form and actually contribute and help. That would be good.
Danjuma got a goal.
Danjuma, I'd love to see Danjuma start. I'll be honest with you. I think that he's had really limited numbers since he's come in. You know, Conte didn't fancy him, and I was gobsmacked when I saw him come off the bench the other day. But actually, every time he's played, I think he's scored.
Yeah.
So
Preston as well.
I'd give him the opportunity. You know, Kulusevski, since he's come back from that injury, he hasn't looked the same.
No.
I would definitely give Danjuma a shout. Why not? Richarlison missed that big chance the other day. Could have won the game.
He's still looking for his first Premier League goal this season.
He's been offside every time he's hit the back of the net.
It's now mid-April, and Richarlison is still waiting for his first Premier League goal after costing 60 million. I mean, I know he's not started many games and he's been coming off the bench, but even as a bench player, that is insane. Yeah,
it's mad. It's not, you know, the return that Tottenham would want. But I don't know. There's so many issues going on at Tottenham. What can I say? But I do think if Newcastle win this, I can't. I know.
Can't see them. You can't see you catching them.
No, I mean, I know it's only 6 points. A lot can happen, but you know, Tottenham needs to be winning this.
You do.
Then they have to be winning it if they think they're going to get top 4.
Tottenham have got some interesting games.
We'll go level on points. We'll go level on points with a win.
But Newcastle away, Manchester United at home, Liverpool away, Aston Villa away.
The thing is, Newcastle still have a game in hand over Tottenham.
Yeah, you've got some tough games.
Got really tough fixtures.
Yeah.
Really tough fixtures.
You play everyone around you.
Yeah. And also it's one of those things where you say it doesn't actually matter about whether you're home or away, because the way that Tottenham are playing at the moment, it's just
same as us.
Yeah.
Same as us.
In a way, I'd rather be 10th.
You shouldn't have beaten Brighton. That's the funny thing.
We didn't deserve to beat Brighton.
So you should actually be way more off the pace than you are, because Brighton should have got something at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So
lots of people in the chat asking if I've seen the full interview from Daniel Levy that he gave yesterday. He was at Cambridge.
He spoke about Kane, didn't he?
He spoke about Kane. That's the only clip I've heard on my way in this morning.
He said they can win trophies at Tottenham.
I don't know what type of trophies he can win, but you know, he can win trophies at Tottenham. He wants to build a statue of him. I think, you know, everyone knows how I feel. I don't need to keep.
I think he should get a statue regardless of whether he leaves.
I agree. He deserves a statue.
He's the top goal scorer in your history.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do anything more to get a statue.
No, and I think that I can't see him going to PSG personally. I think he's only got eyes to stay in the Premier League. I think he'll go to United.
I agree.
Whether or not United can afford him if they don't get the managers.
Does Ten Hag want him, and can they afford him is the question. Would you sell him to us? We're looking at a striker.
Yeah, right.
Why not?
No. He would never. It'd be out of the question. He would never go to Chelsea.
I know you wouldn't, but
never go to Chelsea.
We can negotiate.
I wouldn't even like to see him at United, to be honest with you. But I can understand that he wants to stay in the Premier League. He wants to break the record.
Do a Berbatov.
Look, he deserves to win something, and I'm never going to hold it against him. It will hurt, but he deserves it. You know. Tenditum says, Abby, as a Newcastle fan, this is a must-win for us, not a must-not-lose. I think we need 3 points. A draw is not good enough for us. Geordie Toon for life says Newcastle 4, Spurs 1. I can see it. I can see it.
Come on, the Toons.
UD says 2-0 Toon Army. Vlad says 1-1. Jay says Spurs will get hammered. Foggy says we're not winning, we are absolutely dreadful, and he's got a little trash emoji. Cute, I like it. I'm going to watch the full Levy interview later on today, but I mean,
you don't like Levy, so I'm not surprised you haven't watched it.
What do I need to watch?
What is there to hear? What is he going to say that is going to be so groundbreaking?
Nothing. And also, it's as usual, you know, instead of talking to the fans directly or coming and speaking to the Supporters Trust, he goes and speaks to a University of Cambridge. You know, come and actually connect with the fans and talk to the fans.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what's really important. So,
prediction.
My prediction, I don't know. How can I?
I'm going to go with a 2-1 Newcastle win at home.
I'll go with a draw. I'll go with a 1-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Last Premier League game of the weekend is AFC Bournemouth against West Ham. Now, you know, I've always hated West Ham my whole life because I'm a Tottenham fan, but I'm a big fan of them right now after that huge point they took off Arsenal last week.
Wow.
Jared Bowen hit a little bit of form. You know, I hope they stay up now.
Really?
I'm joking. No, I hope they go down.
If they go down, it would be hilarious. But then Millwall could come up, which would be mad.
I know. I'd love to see it.
Would you love to see that?
I'd love to see it.
I want to see Millwall in this league. But West Ham also in this league, and I want to see what the budget cuts look like then for the police.
True, it'd be mad. Bournemouth have won 2 of their last 3 Premier League games when conceding the first goal. Of course, they come off the back of that win against Tottenham last week, that last gasp winner. West Ham, I mean, they've got a game tonight, haven't they? They play Ghent in the Europa League.
Conference League.
The Conference League. Europa Conference
They
League.
won 1 in that leg in that game on aggregate after going away to Belgium there. So they're gonna have to find a positive result there. They should win, but no guarantees. So they're gonna have to put out a strong team, their strongest team, to progress. And will that take its toll going into that game on Sunday? I mean, Bournemouth are playing really well at the moment. They're in good form. They've won their last 2 games. They did really, really well at the Emirates. They only lost there to a last minute, obviously beating Liverpool in this run as well. So when I look at Bournemouth at home and West Ham playing midweek, I feel like I'm edging towards a Bournemouth win. And again, Bournemouth are one of those teams that they're in a position now, along with Wolves and Palace, that they're just 1 win away from safety. You know, if Bournemouth win and put themselves on 36 points,
Get that gap.
You just maybe need 1 more point just to be sure. I think 37 will be enough to stay up. So I think Bournemouth will have
You've changed your tune. You've been looking for 40 points.
I am looking for 40 points, but I don't think you need 40 points to stay up. But
Chelsea angles change.
Just for the principle of it, I would like to hit 40 points. Because if we don't hit 40 points, in some seasons we would have been relegated.
You will hit 40 points. I mean, you're only 1 away. I mean, you might.
I've been waiting for it.
It might take you till the end of May to do it, but you'll get there.
Got Brentford next Wednesday. We'll see.
Ooh, all right. Your prediction for this game, please.
I'm going to go with a Bournemouth 2-1 win.
Okay, right, let's look at the FA Cup games. Brighton against Manchester United. This is a really, really juicy one. I think Marcus Rashford may be back for this game. I think he actually may potentially even feature tonight in the Europa.
Against Seville?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he will, but
2-2.
I think he'll be back for Sunday, potentially.
Maybe off the bench.
Yeah, Karim Mitoma has either scored or assisted a goal in all 4 of his FA Cup games for Brighton. He's been absolutely brilliant this season. He really has, as is the whole Brighton squad. But victory for Manchester United will see them equal Arsenal for the reaching of the most FA Cup finals in history, which would be 21.
Okay, wow.
This is difficult to split.
This is a tough game. Brighton play some really good football, and Brighton now, I know they're chasing European place, but what an opportunity to get to a FA Cup final.
Huge.
And walk out at Wembley against most likely Manchester City, who we'll get onto. But
it could be. I think Brighton could beat anyone.
I think they could beat anyone. Yeah, I agree. And I think on any given day, Brighton have the capability to beat anyone. They play great football. They're organised. Their system is pretty much sorted now. Colwell will be back on the pitch, I'm sure, for Webster. Lewis Dunk is there as well. But when you look at the way that they played, I mean, we saw it at Stamford Bridge. They should have beaten us by 4-5. You know, they should have scored more goals. They've got all of these unearthed talents that keep coming off the bench and contributing. Matoma's on fire on that left-hand side. He almost scored an incredible solo wonder goal there as well. Solly March, really good on the right-hand side, switching play. Ferguson's lively up top. So I think Man United, with the injuries that they have and the fact that they have a big game on Thursday against Sevilla where they're 2-2, and that, you know, who knows, that could even go to extra time. That could tire them out even more. Because Sevilla, you know, they should have beat Sevilla in the first leg.
Yeah.
They
let that slip away.
They let that slip away, but, you know.
And it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough tonight for United.
Away from home.
Away from home. Sevilla, with that pedigree they've got in Europe. You know, they love being in these competitions in the Europa League.
Maguire's going to be starting. There's no Varane. There's no Martinez. So I think Brighton could win this. They've got a whole week, isn't it, to prepare. Yeah. Plenty of time to get rest. Very lively team, energetic. They definitely play better football than Man United. I'm gonna go over Brighton 3-2 win. I think it's gonna be a fun game. Spice.
I'd love that.
I think goals will be conceded by United. I don't think it'll be so tight back there.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Brighton.
Okay.
2-1 Brighton.
I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, and then on Saturday, it is Manchester City against Sheffield United. Now, Erling Haaland has scored a hat-trick against Burnley. Last round. He's the first player ever to score an FA Cup, Premier League and a Champions League hat-trick in the same season.
Okay.
I mean, this guy's just mad.
Very much so. I mean, this guy is not real. He's a figure of our imagination, probably. The way that they're moving right now is just very violent. And Sheffield United, very violent. And Sheffield United, they're doing very well. They're second in the Championship. Yeah. They've got some decent players. Bogle, I think he came through the Derby Academy. He's on the right wing back spot. They play free at the back. They've got Berger midfield, Norwegian midfielder. They got some decent players, and they're looking like they're going to get promoted. They've got a nice gap to the playoffs. A couple of games to go. I'm sure we'll see them in the Premier League next season. But when you're coming up against this train that is Man City, that is just unstoppable right now. They went to Munich there the other day. They played in basically first gear. They still got the draw. They missed a penalty. They could have easily won that. If they'd taken their chances hard and actually missed a couple of chances there. So I think Man City, no doubts they'll win this game, and they're going for that treble. So
what do you reckon the score's going to be on this game?
I think Sheffield United in that 3 at the back, which will probably become a 5 off the ball and just defend for their lives, most likely. I think they'll hold out, but you know, I think once the first goal goes in, it will just be waterworks. I think I'm going to go over I don't think Pep will be disrespectful. I think I'll go for a 3-0 win.
Okay. I mean, I was going to say, I don't want to be too disrespectful. I'm going to go with like a 2-0 win, because sometimes, you know, and this is no disrespect to Sheffield.
Big pitch, though.
It is a big pitch, but no disrespect to Sheffield. It's just, I think anyone, when you come up against Manchester City, it's just, I'm trying to be respectful by making it 2-0.
If it was at Bramall Lane, I'd give them some more chance of like keeping it frustrating. But I think on that massive Wembley pitch with Grealish on the left flank, holding the width.
They're just unbelievable.
Bernardo Silva's playing really well at the moment on the right. They just have so much space to just stretch the pitch out with those two wingers. Yeah. You've got John Stones dribbling past players against Bayern Munich in midfield. I just can't see how Sheffield United can handle all of that.
I cannot. I mean, most people can't. I mean, look, credit to them if they do. So we've got a big weekend coming up of football. Let's quickly run through some more chats. Wave says Rashford, Shaw, Sabitzer and Malacia are back. I don't know. I mean, honestly,
maybe Luke Shaw will play centre back, because he has played centre back a few times.
He could do.
But yeah, I don't know who will play alongside him. I guess maybe Maguire. Lindelof, I'm not. Yeah. Maguire's the captain, so you'd assume that he's going to play.
You'd assume.
In a cup semi-final.
You'd assume. Geordie, Tune for Life says Brighton 3, Manchester United 1. I'll just read this because why not? RTX said Arsenal are the biggest banter club in Europe. Bottlers.
Because why not?
Because why not? Why not? Barry's World says 2-2, Brighton to win on penalties. Vlad says 3-1. Yeah, I mean, it's going to definitely be interesting this weekend, I think. Definitely going to be interesting to see what happens.
Maguire suspended for the FA Cup.
Okay. Barry's World says 4-0 City. Was lost but found says 10-0. I mean, has there ever been a 10-0?
10-0.
Tottenham beat Wigan 9-1. But
Southampton lost a couple of 9-0s. We beat a couple of teams.
Has there ever been a 10-0?
Not that I can remember. I remember some 9s, definitely some 8s, but not at 10. Not a double digit. Just disappointing.
Yeah, it is. Who knows? Might see it this weekend. Dom Dewsbury says 9-0 is the highest score in the Premier League, apparently. Sumant says Shaw and Lindelof pairing. There's never been. Suspended, Maguire suspended. Tendetum said there's never been a 10-0 in the Premier League era yet. Yet is the preferable
Soon
word.
come.
Soon come. Who knows? It might happen this weekend. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Good luck to all your teams this weekend, and we will see you on Monday for Round Table.
Do you notice how she said weekend? Because Arsenal play on Friday.
Oh, it's technically weekend.
It's not
Friday night. It's technically the weekend.
Nah, it's not.
After 5 o'clock.
It's not. You don't wish them luck.
Oh yeah, it's weekend. You're right. But Friday night is technically the weekend. But yeah, no, I don't wish them luck. Bye.